it up though. I'm not making this up. I don't know where else to go. I don't know, it's gotta be exposed. It's gotta be exposed, right? Bring it into the light, right? I don't know why it's on me. It's happening to me. And then, if I disappear, you know what happened, okay? Maybe I'll just say that. If anything happens to me right now, you know what happened. It got to me. Why's that be mean? Why? People think it's a gimmick. They're gonna think it's a gimmick. They're gonna think like I'm promoting something. I don't have any movie. There's no movie. It's not a movie. This is real. This is me, my house, my zebra rug, my stuff. This is me. I'm not promoting anything. This is me coming to you. I want to tell you. It's serious. Serious.
There is something really strange going on with James Franco right now. A few weeks ago, out of nowhere, he made a brand new TikTok account and started posting cryptic videos insisting he'd found something in his garage, and insisting, repeatedly, that this was not a bit. Let's walk through exactly what happened, because it gets stranger with every video. It started with a video of Franco sitting in his house, visibly agitated, telling viewers this account isn't promoting anything, that it's really him and not AI, and that some serious stuff was going on that he couldn't fully explain yet. He specifically challenged the idea that AI could have made the video, saying an AI version of himself could not write this, before asking people to just follow him so he'd know who's down, before showing them what he'd found. No context, no explanation, no hint at what any of this was actually about. Just visible tension and a promise that more was coming soon. The next video ramped things up considerably. Franco said whatever he'd seen needed to be exposed and brought into the light, repeating that phrase like it genuinely mattered to him. Then, almost as an aside, he said if he ever disappeared, people would know exactly why. He kept insisting this wasn't a movie promotion, gesturing at his own house, his zebra rug, his actual belongings, as if trying to prove through sheer specificity that this was really his life playing out, and not a set built for a film. Then came the actual reveal, the moment the whole account had apparently been building toward. Franco described walking into his garage at night to paint, the way he says he normally does, and hearing something before he'd even turned the lights on. He was clear it wasn't a raccoon, a squirrel, or a possum. He said he saw a hand, glowing eyes, and heard something that sounded like speech coming from whatever it was. He said he ran immediately, hasn't gone back into that garage since, but promised he was going to return and film actual proof, specifically so people would stop assuming he was making the whole thing up for attention. He never actually did that. Instead, the next video walks the claim back only slightly in tone while doubling down on the content. He clarifies plainly this time that, yes, he believes it's an alien, says the word directly instead of dancing around it, and insists again that none of this is a hoax, all while still not providing a single second of actual footage of the thing he's describing in such specific detail. Then things took a turn that made a lot of viewers genuinely uneasy rather than just confused. A video showing a group of his friends showing up at his house for what plays out, almost beat for beat, like a wellness check. They ask him to sit down, ask directly if this whole thing is a bit, ask if he's secretly working with Spielberg on something, and tell him plainly that people in the comments section are worried he isn't doing okay mentally. Franco brushes all of it off, insists he's just trying to get the news out to people, and jokingly calls the whole encounter his first ever intervention. It's a genuinely strange watch, specifically because it's impossible to tell from the footage alone whether this is staged concern between friends who are all in on the same joke together, or something a little more real, playing out in front of a camera that happened to be rolling. Understandably, everyone who came across these clips landed in the same place. This has to be marketing for his upcoming movie, Long Way Round in the Sunshine. Except James Franco himself, and separately the film's director, have both specifically denied that connection, insisting the videos are real, made by Franco himself, and have nothing to do with the movie. Which makes this even more confusing, because based on everything publicly known about that film, it's a road trip comedy, not a sci-fi project. There's no alien angle to promote in the first place. So if this isn't a marketing stunt and it isn't AI, what exactly is it? Nobody involved has given a straight answer, and Franco isn't exactly selling the "this is real" angle convincingly either. Most people watching these clips walk away assuming it's some kind of viral bit regardless of what's being claimed. Here's where it gets more interesting to me though, because the timing of all this lines up with something bigger that's been building all year. Alien and UAP discourse has been climbing steadily for the better part of a decade, but 2026 specifically has felt like a genuine turning point in how mainstream the conversation has become. Government-released documents about UAP encounters have been steady front-page material for months now, covered almost daily by major outlets. Spielberg's Disclosure Day just dropped, marketed heavily as a film that would change how people think about religion and reality itself, only to leave most audiences confused about what it was actually trying to say. And just recently, a well-known exorcist and psychologist for the Archdiocese of Washington publicly claimed that many UFO sightings might actually be demonic activity designed specifically to deceive and manipulate people, a claim serious enough that the church stripped him of his role as exorcist and cut all official ties with his nonprofit within a single day of him saying it publicly. One thing that's hard to ignore is how much the public conversation around aliens has changed in a surprisingly short amount of time. Not very long ago, openly talking about extraterrestrials was usually enough to get someone laughed out of the room. Believing in aliens was often grouped together with believing in ghosts, Bigfoot, or other fringe mysteries. Mainstream news rarely covered the topic unless it was making fun of it, and Hollywood generally treated it as science fiction rather than something audiences were supposed to seriously consider. If someone claimed they had found evidence of alien life, most people immediately assumed it was either a joke, a publicity stunt, or a conspiracy theory with no credibility. Now compare that to what's happening today. The tone has changed dramatically. Major news organizations regularly report on UAPs, formerly known as UFOs, in a much more serious way than they did even a few years ago. Government officials have held public hearings, military footage has been discussed openly, and former intelligence and defense personnel have made claims that would have been dismissed almost instantly in the past. Whether those claims are true is a completely separate question, but the fact that they're being treated as legitimate subjects of public discussion is a noticeable shift by itself. At the same time, Hollywood seems more interested than ever in alien-related stories. Movies, documentaries, television series, podcasts, and streaming platforms continue putting the subject front and center. Some of that is simply because audiences enjoy the mystery, but when so many projects arrive within a relatively short period, it's understandable why people begin connecting the dots. Add in reports of religious leaders discussing the possibility of extraterrestrial life from philosophical or theological perspectives, and you suddenly have conversations about aliens happening in places where they rarely would have appeared just a decade ago. To be clear, none of this proves that aliens exist, and it certainly doesn't prove there's some massive coordinated campaign behind the scenes directing the conversation. Cultural trends happen all the time. One popular topic often inspires another, and once public interest grows, governments, media companies, filmmakers, and commentators naturally devote more attention to it. That's a perfectly reasonable explanation on its own. Still, it's difficult not to notice the timing. Within the span of just a few months, discussions about UAPs seem to be coming from multiple directions at once. Government hearings generate headlines. Hollywood continues releasing alien-focused content. Religious discussions enter the conversation. Then, almost right in the middle of all of that, a well-known actor suddenly claims he discovered what appears to be an alien in his own garage. Even if the claim ultimately turns out to be nothing more than an elaborate joke or a failed marketing stunt, the coincidence naturally makes people look twice. That brings us back to James Franco himself. He's an actor with a long history of doing unconventional, headline-grabbing things, and the entertainment industry has never been shy about using strange viral campaigns to attract attention. Whether it's mysterious websites, cryptic social media posts, or bizarre public appearances, unusual marketing has become part of modern entertainment. That's why so many people immediately assumed Franco's story was connected to some kind of promotional effort, regardless of his own denials or those of the film's director. Once that perception takes hold, it's incredibly difficult to change. At the end of the day, the simplest explanation is probably still the strongest one. This most likely is exactly what it appears to be: an actor generating attention through an unusual stunt that didn't land the way it was intended. But it's unfolding during a moment when conversations about aliens and UAPs are already everywhere you look. Whether that's simply the result of growing public curiosity or part of a much larger cultural trend, it's an interesting backdrop that makes stories like this feel bigger than they otherwise would. Even if there's no deeper connection at all, the overlap is striking enough that people are almost guaranteed to keep asking questions. What do you think actually happened here? Do you think James Franco was just trying to manufacture a viral moment? Or do you think this connects to something bigger going on with how aliens are being discussed across media and Hollywood lately? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to know what Disclosure Day is actually about underneath the surface, because most people who watched it walked away confused for the wrong reasons, that breakdown is linked and ready for you to watch next.